Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video, I want to talk about strategies employed by different groups in the Party Finder. Now, this video, I'm just going to be speaking off mine, not reading off a sheet or a script or anything like that. But of course, the big thing that's inspiring this video is DPS North versus DPS South for Titania Extreme. Now, of course, I put out a video for Titania Extreme where, after some experience in the Party Finder, I saw, oh, well, a bunch of groups are doing DPS South, so that's just what I'll mention in my video. But I'm very much someone who likes to see people be adjustable, who could be flexible in the Party Finder when it comes to a newer strategy that makes complete sense being presented to them. And I guess I haven't really talked about it enough in the past, so I wanted to do this video talking about my experience as a content creator and dealing with this kind of strategy adjustments that need to be made over the course of several weeks or months and as a fight has become available for longer. So with that, let's get started. So first of all, again, this video is specifically because of the Titania EX thing, but I've been dealing with this for a long time, of course. You know, I have a large demand of people who come to me and ask, when are you getting the video out? Or are you doing a guide? When is the guide going to be out? And as such, I do feel an immense pressure to get content released within the first few days to a week of content being available, or the idea just kind of starts feeling dead to me. Or if I do it, it's definitely going to be not the same amount of effort that I would put forward into other content. Now, of course, things like Chaos. Chaos is probably the biggest example back in 09 Savage, but I've had plenty of other slip-ups or mistakes over Leviathan, Tsukiyomi. You know, the list could go on and on and on, I'm sure. And I'm sure many of you have called me on it before or have, you know, brought it up to me directly either in a YouTube comment section or live in my Twitch stream. But regardless of that, the biggest struggle I've always had is trying to meet the demand of the people who want content as quickly as possible. And I'm not going to blame those people for that because it is still on me as a content creator to try and bring forth strategies that will bring the highest success to people who are watching them. You know, as much as I would like for a video to be more of a guideline, here are mechanics, here are them presented, and then hopefully players can go on and learn from there and improve. It's not always the situation that ends up happening. A lot of people like to take strategies verbatim and live or die by them, whether or not it be to the benefit or to the to the, I guess, not benefit, because my brain won't put words together right now, to the rest of the people in the Party Finder group. So I'm going to talk to you about Titania EX, how I got to the DPS South, and I'm also going to add right now that I'm an advocate for DPS North if the situation calls for it. We'll talk about that in a second. So how did I get to DPS South with Titania? And this is generally a way that I try to judge things when it comes to making videos in the first week as a whole. So for my Shadowbringers launch event, we were doing a 24/7 stream with myself and one of my moderators on Twitch, Tequila Shots. And in that time, I decided Dancer was going to be the first job that I leveled. So I leveled it from 60 to 70 on the first day, a little bit further than that. And then the remainder of the way on the second day of streaming, both of which were like, 14 to 16 hour days, somewhere in that vicinity. And on the third day, I said, okay, I need to get into Titania. You know, my FC who had already leveled things from 70 to 80 and were about a day ahead of me. They were already done. So I had to kind of hop into the Party Finder and try to find a group like that. So I joined the first Party Finder and for Titania EX, and I, go through 2-3 polls, and most of the group hadn't beaten it, but they had already seen far enough in the fight. Now, I'm a content creator, but I'm not going to sit here and try to dictate to people who have already been progressing on the fight what I think we should do. You know, they have some experience, people have already started to develop a Party Finder meta in a sense. And so I'm of course going to be completely open to these people who I've never met before, most likely, in the Party Finder. And so they explain like what the Party Finder's been doing and the various groups that they've been progressing with, and how close they've almost gotten to clear and what's worked and what hasn't. And the big thing that I was told immediately is we're going to be sending DPS South. And I said, okay, DPS South. And then I saw the mechanic for the first time, the knockback with the vines. And I said, okay, so you're just knocking it away and you're just assigning tanks and healers north and you're assigning DPS South. Okay, I don't see much of a problem with that. Now, I did get to the ad phase with that. And of course, that's the main knockback that most people are referring to when they talk about DPS North versus DPS South. And my first thought was, this probably isn't great for melee, but whatever. DPS South is working fine. So even with all the groups that had melees, which I think all of the ones I joined that day had at least one melee in there, we were doing DPS South. And, you know, I joined one and we got one or two. I think we got one kill in the first group. And then I joined another and we got like 4 kills. I joined another. We got another 4. And then I think somebody from the third or second and third group put together a 4th group for us to get that final totem, because that was going to be my 10th kill. And the whole way, DPS South, the whole time, there was not a whisper, there was not a complaint, there was nothing. So I was like, okay, so all these different people across 3.5 or so different groups were all very, you know, comfortable with DPS South. It seems to be something the Party Finder has already adapted to. It's something people already know, they're already doing. And so I might as well just follow the wave and present that in this quick little 16-minute video guide that I did, which isn't really a guide. It's me talking about the fight kind of like this for 16 minutes. But people were using it. You know, I didn't realize how many people had actually watched that video, because I was like, oh, that's not like a real guide. There's got to be way better guides than that. And I should really get to making one that's way better, because I would have already said DPS North in the official guide. So literally within 12 hours after releasing that video, not while I was recording it, not while I was getting footage for it, literally never before I released the video. As soon as I released the video, I started getting, you know, Twitch messages and, you know, Twitter DMs and YouTube comments talking about DPS North, because obviously, like I had acknowledged during my actual progression of the fights, you know, it really sucked as a melee if you had to get knocked DPS South, especially during the ad phase, because there's 2 ads if you get knocked DPS North. If you get knocked Northeast, you can still be attacking one of them. If you get attacked Northwest, then you're right in between 2 of them. So it just makes sense if you have melee DPS to be going DPS North. And then when I started talking about DPS North, then tanks were like, nah, screw that, DPS South. So it just kept getting this struggle, this back and forth where people, you know, were just arguing over which one made some more sense to do. And so DPS North, if you have any melee in the group, are going to lose uptime, and DPS South if you have all ranged. But then I realized something, and it's something I realized years ago, and I don't know why I thought it was going to play out any differently than this. But I remembered that the Party Finder doesn't really care so much about composition. You're just kind of getting whoever you get. And people kind of learn things one way, and they want to commit entirely to that way. So getting people to change their minds about it because either they saw it in a guide or it was the first way they learned it, whatever the reason may be, you know, people are very adamant about not needing to learn another way. And, you know, sometimes they die, they get frustrated, say, can we please just do it this other way? I'm already used to it. And the other people are maybe a bit more flexible. So you go back to doing it the other way. And, you know, the people who don't want to do it that way are miserable, but maybe they get through it, whatever. And even if it leads to a win, you know, the people want to do it the way that's more effective. And there's this constant back and forth that we've dealt with for years. And, you know, it's a really tough situation for me, because I want to put out content for the people who want it as quickly as possible. And that leads to mistakes. And it's led to plenty of mistakes over the years. I'm sure plenty of you would love to call me on Leviathan, Ifrit, Tsukiyomi is definitely a more recent one. And now, of course, with this Titania DPS South versus DPS North debacle. And, you know, I wish I had a better means of dealing with it, but while you guys are dealing with that issue of, you know, arguing with each other about which strategy is more effective in the Party Finder, I'm dealing with it from a content creation standpoint. So basically, when I put out a video and it has a strategy, and this is just like a week 1 strategy, you know, I always like to tell people when they come by my stream, yeah, week 1 strategies usually have ways to be improved. It's very rare that on a week 1 strat, on a prog strat, you found something that's actually as effective as it can be. It's what we call what works, you know? And yes, getting the win is the ultimate important thing in the end, but then there's plenty of people who strive to, you know, be better, to do better DPS, to get faster kills. And all those groups mix in the Party Finder. You get all sorts of different personalities and desires and stuff like that. So now you have a group of people who want you to inform the group of people who learned it the first way that there's another way. Unfortunately, I have messed around with a little bit of this over the years, and I found that after you release a video with one strategy, even if you were to replace that video with another video that talks about a new strategy, it's very rare that people who have already committed to strategy A will go and actually adjust and do strategy B. There's, of course, it's just a natural human tendency to resist change, or to resist something, or to resist change, especially when something is technically already working, even if it could technically be working better. I see this in my own work ethic. I see this in other people's sort of habits that they have, or ways that they approach very simple problems. Even if you've ever had a friend, even as little as arguing about toilet paper facing up or down, like, it's just little things like that, you know, people are nurtured to do a certain way, or they learn it one way first, and any other way just seems weird. And as much as it's human nature, and it's something that we could all probably understand and relate to at some degree, that doesn't change people getting upset at each other in the Party Finder. And I wish I had a better solution to this. My number one solution would be being able to replace parts in a YouTube video that's already released, and to be able to add a tagline that there's an edit that's been made since the video initially released. But if YouTube can come up with the technology for that, I will be very, very impressed. It's absolutely possible, but to do it on such a grand scale as that is probably pretty unlikely, because that way I could replace the first video and just add the information in. We used to be able to kind of do that with annotations on YouTube, but they've gotten rid of those entirely. I guess the only other solution would be to add like an unlisted video that has that little eye in the top right corner that most people click away from or ignore because it's just getting in their way and being annoying. And if you don't deliberately bring people's attention to it, they probably won't even look at it in the first place. So it's just a bit of a struggle on the content creator standpoint. You know, you want to please the people who want the content as quickly as possible, which, you know, can often mean making mistakes, which again, I've mentioned, you know, numerous times in this video that of course I've made mistakes over the years. And then you come to the other problem where you have to consider the way that the time's being used. You know, you want everyone to just be on the same page. You want everyone to get along. You want everyone to be adaptable, but it just doesn't work out that way in a sense of learning strategies through YouTube videos. First exposure is easily the most important thing. So then there's the solution of waiting a week until people iron out a different strategy. And then a lot of the people who needed to learn the fight no longer want to watch a YouTube video for it, or they've found an outlet already, and that outlet may be saying the same things as I was trying to avoid saying. So there's just this nonstop back and forth of problems where trying to get people to change something once they've learned it is really, really difficult. So that's why I kind of just want to talk about changing strategies and approachability inside of raids, because it's something I think people should definitely be willing to do. You know, I've never come right out and said it, and it's never been like apparent in any of my videos, but I don't ever want my videos to be the be all end all. I've never wanted that. It's been something that's kind of been placed on me. I used to watch the old Tank Spot videos for World of Warcraft, and I used to read comments under there that were very similar to comments that I've received on my videos. And I've always said, yeah, you know what? I look at the Tank Spot videos and I was always like, oh yeah, this is a nice baseline. There are things that can be improved, but you know, it's nice to have this information. And then I go, oh, you know, they did it that way, but it make way more sense to do it this other way. But whatever, I've seen the mechanic, I'm educated about it, and I can make that adjustment based on what I've learned. That's kind of what I've always wanted for my own guides, which is why the earlier days were definitely a lot rougher for me, because more often I was missing information in the earlier days. Now it's more so just the strategies are like, that is definitely a week one strategy and not what people should probably be doing if they want to be optimal. But it doesn't really change the fact that I don't dictate how other people use my content and how other people view my content. I'll never have that control, and it's unrealistic, honestly, all these years for me to have ever had the expectation that if people are specifically coming to my content to view it and consume it, that of course they're going to take it as is. Hell, as I'm recording this, I'm already thinking about having to redo the dancer video because of having some discussions with some other dancers of minor adjustments that could be made. Yes, what I used in that video, I've used to get anywhere from 85 to 95 percentile, but that doesn't mean that there can't be like a small change to it that could maybe add 15 to 20 raid DPS, such as changing the opener to do Devilment after technical and using the Rising Windmill as the first GCD before actually using the Devilment. There's all those little tiny adjustments that could be made that could be way better. So obviously I now have to consider remaking that video, but now I've already exposed people to video A. Will they watch video B because it's updated, because it's a new discussion about it? Man, it's a hell of a time. And you can tell how much this stuff kind of affects me and my work ethic. It's definitely been a major contributing factor to why there's been less guides on the channel. It's because I'm more and more, I guess, afraid to create content for YouTube, because, you know, I've dealt with a lot of stuff over the years. Not to, you know, make this any more, I guess, emotional for myself than it needs to be, but, you know, I've gotten the death threats, I've gotten the doxing, I've gotten all sorts of different things just because I said to do a fight a certain way. And it got taken as verbatim, and people never adjusted to it in the party finder, despite people saying, hey, that's not as good as this strategy. Listen, I'm here to tell you that if I present a strategy to you and somebody says they have a better one, I would at least like you to humor it, because who knows, maybe it's not. Maybe it is actually like a way worse strategy. But if it's something that you see a lot more people starting to adapt, maybe consider adapting it. Maybe consider taking some time to learn and adjust and and, you know, try to take in some new information, because that's always been the greatest joy to me about this, is watching people learn and evolve and eventually outpace the need for a guide. Next thing you know, you're the person going in first day. You needed that guide 2 years ago, but now you're the person going in first day and beating it before the content creator, because you've learned over the years how to read mechanics, how to do this. I love watching that transformation, and it's my favorite thing when people come to me and say they don't need my guides anymore because they used them when they first got started and they've now outgrown them. That sense of growth, seeing that as someone who creates content that's specifically designed to attempt to help people, is just, it's great. It's like watching your child grow up and become more successful than you, in a sense. It's a wonderful thing to watch as a content creator, and I want that for everyone who watches my videos. It just doesn't work out that way for every time in reality. So I guess sorry is the big thing to all the people who maybe have had worse party finders over the years, because I presented a strategy in the first weeks. And to those of you who have taken my strategies and used them verbatim without any sort of willingness to bend or adjust, I implore you to please take this message that it is a good idea to at least attempt to learn something new. It can be very rewarding. The payoff can be insanely awesome and satisfying. And, you know, as much as winning is the ultimate goal and strategy A may be winning, maybe strategy B wins it better. And I think there's just a lot of fun to be had in trying to find those new strategies, because if I enjoy finding the initial ones, if I enjoy watching people grow and find new ones, then hopefully you guys can also grow and enjoy learning new strategies as well. So I kind of got off the rails with this video. It was just going to be about the party finder, about my content creator view, but I feel really strongly about this. So hopefully those of you who have actually taken the time to get, 16 minutes into this video, which is nothing but me rambling about, the party finder and stuff like that. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and hopefully it's been a little bit of an insight to you about what goes on in my head behind the scenes, and that I'm not just, oh, let me throw these videos out week one, big money, big cash money views, yada, yada. That it does affect me when I present something and I don't really have a great solution when it comes to fixing it that makes sense to do, because even if it's not even about the views the second time around, it's about the exposure and getting that information out in a manner that actually educates the first group that doesn't want to budge from strategy A. It just doesn't work out. I know I've said that so many times, but I hope one day there is a better solution. And my solution on Twitch streams has been to point people to updated guides, ones that have more, I guess, party finder friendly strategies, text guides, other video guides, things like that. So yeah, hopefully you guys have not minded listening to me now for 17 minutes, but I think I'm going to stop this video before I drag it on another 17. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you haven't minded. There's just been kind of random footage playing in the background. I think I have to do one edit where I say this. Oh no, I could just put the Titania video under it. I'm saying that's YouTube magic. If I just put the video that I'm referring to in this video under the video, then it's good. Then I'm all good. But thank you for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And stay tuned. We are going to be doing another dancer video. I need to do thoughts videos on other jobs, and I'm not going to be directly referring to my own rotations for other jobs, because there's been a lot more research and work done on some of those other ones. Even if I am placing in the higher percentiles on some of the easier content that we have on certain jobs, it doesn't matter. I want to present the information where I got it from initially, and hopefully we can bring on some experts in various jobs and roles to talk about some other things. But anyway, again, thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next one, and until then, take care.